know President Trump is a fighter. I've been saying this since 2015. Now look at what's happened over the last 10 years. We have all seen it with our own eyes. I'm in the tough guy business, and this man is the toughest, most resilient human being that I've ever met in my life. The higher the stakes, the harder he fights, and this guy never, ever gives up.
A shot at my hero. And they tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
Hi friends, welcome back. So that was Dana White. He is the president of the UFC, so that's the Pro Fighting League. He's endorsing Trump, and you have Hulk Hogan, the famous pro wrestler, also endorsing Trump. I'll just tell you the truth, I grew up with Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Jake the Snake Roberts, all these kind of people, Andre the Giant. If you grew up in the 80s, you probably remember these people. And I don't know if kids these days know who Hulk Hogan is. He's an entertainer, he's an actor, he's a pro wrestler, he's fun. And it was interesting that he came out and did this. In fact, he even said part of his speech is like, you know, usually I'm an entertainer, usually I'm kind of neutral, but this time I really wanted to say something. So, hey, you know, whoever you want to endorse, no problem. So I just wanted to put that in there because I thought this was actually the best speech of the night was Hulk Hogan. Whether or not I agree with everything in there, that's a whole other thing. The parts that what he said, he was like, you know, if you're voting for Trump, you're a true American, and kind of implying that if you're not, then you're a fake American. I thought that was a bit strange, but it is what it is. He's a pro wrestler, and I'll give him a pass. What I think is interesting about this whole stuff, though, and I wanted to start with those couple of speeches, is what was said by Trump, how it's affecting markets, and also, too, is Elon Musk getting his $45 million a month to support Trump? Is he getting a good deal? It really is that much money. Before we get into that, though, I want to show you guys something really interesting. How does Trump's family, this would be Ivanka Trump and Jared, and Melania, his wife, treat Trump? Have a take a look at this. So I play this because if you know what to look for, and you guys don't know, I went to school with Ivanka. This is and actually Trump went to our school as well, as the University of Pennsylvania. I mention this stuff because, guys, when you're in this world, you notice these kind of things. This is part of it was like Ivanka and Jared kind of walk past Trump, don't really greet him. And I just want to put this in context. Just think about this. Imagine that your dad is running for president, like which is quite an honor, and he's getting the, you know, the party's nomination, right? He may actually win, become president again. Just think about how you would treat your dad or your mom, right? One of your parents. You'd probably be like excited and happy to talk to them and say, good luck, good luck, good luck. He's gonna give a big speech tonight, but like I just kind of walk by him. And then when you see how they greet, you know, other people, and this is Ivanka right here, that's Jared, like it's obviously night and day. And it's kind of the same thing with Melania. See, there's yeah, they just walked right by him. And then them, it's kind of the same thing with Melania, where she clearly doesn't want to kiss him, and then he says something to her, and then this is how probably their relationship is. And it's really interesting. The news has been coming out like, where's Melania? Where's Melania? The latest rumor mill is that if he does win, she's probably not going to stay at the White House. She'll just stay wherever she stays. So that they're not even living together. She barely ever, you know, are seen in public together. I think this might be the first time in a couple of years. I don't remember the last time, and that's been always a thing. So it's not shocking. I mean, the guy is, Donald Trump. So, you can take that as you way. I'm sure Trump fans just ignore all this stuff and say, oh, she's wanted a private life, etc. But it's a bit odd. And also, too, she wouldn't speak at the convention, so she didn't give a speech, which is odd. So again, if you were running for president, wouldn't you imagine that your spouse would likely support you and give a speech also supporting you? That's usually a thing, and it attests to someone's character. So I'll let you guys be the judge of that. It should be obvious, but like I said, I'll let you guys decide. This one's an interesting one though as well, is that Trump came out really strong against electric vehicle mandates. And it's kind of weird because, again, Elon Musk is cozying up to this guy, and Elon Musk is the CEO of an electric car company. So have a listen for yourself and see what you think.
Actually incredible waste of taxpayer dollars that is fueling the inflation crisis. They spent trillions of dollars on things having to do with the Green New Scam. It's a scam. And that's caused tremendous inflationary pressures in addition to the cost of energy. And all of the trillions of dollars that are sitting there not yet spent, we will redirect that money for important projects like roads, bridges, dams, and we will not allow it to be spent on meaningless green new scam ideas. And I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day one. Thereby saving the U.S. auto industry from complete obliteration, which is happening right now, and saving U.S. customers thousands and thousands of dollars per car.
So that's Trump on EVs and the mandate. And and then also too, calling the green, any kind of green, energy or green renewable stuff a scam. Like he said a couple times, it's a scam. I don't know. I don't know why I'm going to do what Musk is thinking. Like from Musk's point of view, maybe he's thinking, hey, I'll give this dude $45 million a month. Maybe I can get a pardon. Maybe I can get some more favorable, sort of treatment from the government, because the DOJ and SEC are actually after Musk. And like I told you guys before, Musk and Trump, maybe they kind of see eye to eye and like, oh, I hate it when the feds are on my back. I hate that. Yeah, let's try to get these feds off our backs and make it more conducive so we can do whatever we want, not pay employees or whatever. And it's funny too. I mentioned stuff. I mentioned Ivanka, but Trump, Musk, and myself all went to the same school, so I don't know if they talk about that kind of stuff. They might. I mean, it is what it is. Trump is also, actually, it's interesting, he's also very tough on trade talk, this kind of stuff. He talks about tariffs here, tariffs there, tariffs everywhere, against all kinds of nations, friends or foe. Chances are that'll probably raise inflation. This has been kind of the talk of many economists. So, and I understand, and I always have to have a sense of humor about this stuff. I understand if you're a Trump fan, you ignore these kind of things, and that's fine. But I'm just telling you what it is. It'll probably raise the cost on goods. He's talking about bringing jobs, factory jobs in particular, back to the USA. I think that'll raise the cost of everything. The reality is, it's just how our world works these days. It's cheaper to make things overseas. Now, the interesting thing about this is, like, he was kind of hitting on companies like, you evil companies for, building factories in China. And it's like Musk has a factory in Shanghai. So I'm not quite sure, like, what Mr. Musk is thinking. I don't know. You guys, like I said, you guys can make up your mind that. But I'll be curious how that plays out going forward. This is probably another interesting highlight of the RNC was people were putting ear patches on to emulate Mr. Trump. The first thing my wife said was like, when she saw this thing, she's like, he probably doesn't need to wear this big of a patch. It's just for show, which is, again, a lot of this stuff is for show. You have to understand sort of how this game is played. Now, after the Trump speech, actually the stocks here and markets here in Asia have really been going down. And this is what it is, right? They're worried about trade war, worried about uncertainty. Currencies, actually, the dollar's been going up. Asian currency has been going down in retrospect. And moreover, talking about things that are going down, EV car sales in California are going down for Tesla. It's actually really interesting because, again, I'm trying to figure out what does Elon have to gain from Mr. Trump? Is it a pardon or something? Who knows? Another one, it could be wealth tax. Could be really important to Mr. Musk, because Trump is all about cutting taxes. There's one, so wealth tax would be one. Hey, sell stock, no tax, whatever, right? That kind of stuff. One was really interesting that Trump was proposing was no tax on tips. And that's an interesting one because I can kind of see the ramifications of that. So you guys, restaurant workers, these kind of things. So what if then we decide to, as restaurant workers, put all of your money into tips? Essentially, that's how the restaurants would do that. Okay, we'll pay you 50 cents an hour, or classify stuff as tips. So they may end up paying no taxes, and they may maybe make some gains in the short term, but the long term may hurt them because, like, when you do it that way, you may not qualify for things like Social Security or other sort of tax benefits from having an actual wage salary. So that's kind of stuff that people may get kind of the switcheroo on, when it might sound good, hey, let's not tax tips, but there could be ramifications that may come back to really bite you. So just be careful on stuff that you hear that may sound good at first, but may not ultimately be that great. Moreover, regarding Tesla, so I have the numbers here. Let me see here. Yeah, Tesla share, just want California, because this is a really interesting one, because Tesla was essentially originally a California company appealing to people in California who care about environment and these kind of things like tech, environment stuff. Tesla sales are, I guess, down 24% in California, which is pretty significant. Now, a lot of people like to say, oh, well, Chris, all car sales down. Not necessarily. And I'll tell you the numbers. So it's true that other ones are down. I'm talking about EVs here. Volvo's down. Polestar, Volvo is Polestar, I guess. Also, I guess Volkswagen and Chevy are down. But then Audi, BMW, and Kia are up, and then Toyota's up. You guys can see the numbers. So the winners, Audi 77%, BMW 59%, Kia up 72%, and Toyota up 100%. Now, you gotta make this clear, and this is the same kind of when Tesla early on, when you first start selling something, like, let's say, hey, last year I sold 1 car, this year I sold 2 cars, 100% growth, right? It's like crazy amount of growth, because you're not selling that many, and it's easy to double at first. And I've mentioned this kind of math early on when I started talking about Tesla stock a couple years ago and telling you guys about this stuff, and I think like the Tesla fanboys and fangirls, like, let's just be honest, can't do math. I was trying to be nice about it, but and I would just make this really clear, like early on growth rates can be high, but eventually they start to peter out because it's just hard to double or do massive growth every year, and that's sort of what really sort of trapped a lot of Tesla bulls. More of which is really interesting is that, talking about California here, auto sales are actually up 4.8%, and then hybrids are up 21%. So meaning that people just aren't buying Teslas. The thing that's really fascinating about this thing is, like, is it really Elon Musk hurting his company? I mean, or who knows? I mean, how many people out there are saying I'm not going to buy a Tesla because of Elon, and is that what's causing it? Or is it just they like the other car manufacturers, like say Kia, BMW, or Audi? Or is it a combination too? And that kind of stuff, you never know for sure, but I am putting this out there. The last thing I want to mention too is I think Biden's on his way out. We're just kind of waiting for an official announcement. Trump just gave his speech, and then now would be the time for Biden to make the announcement. And then basically it looks like Kamala. It's kind of the natural one. There's not one else to do. And I made another prior video on that, but it's probably going to be her. Now you got this news that Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi are like, yo, Biden, it's time to go. Biden's even, saying, I guess, actually, Barack is even saying, yo, time to go. The dangerous thing about this, though, is that from this article here was that I guess Barack and Biden have only talked once after that really, really poor showing in the debate by Biden. And then I guess Obama's been getting tons and tons of calls. Everyone's worried. and before maybe, Obama's trying to calm everyone down, and, it's hard to calm the storm. Moreover, Barack, I guess, told originally Judge Joe Biden that the choice is up to you, but it just kind of feels like, if you guys are into sports, you got the quarterback is had a pretty good game up to maybe the halftime or whatever, third quarter looking really bad, and they got still time in the fourth quarter, and the quarterback doesn't want to come out, right? They can't see it. Sometimes you can't see outside yourself. Like, we can all see on the sidelines that, dude, you're tired, it's just time to go. bring in the backup quarterback, right? And that's essentially Kamala Harris. With Kamala Harris, though, it's like she's never played a game in her life, right? And you're like, oh my god, we got this new backup. She may know the system, and it's like that's the choices you got: the quarterback that's out of gas, or the backup quarterback that doesn't really have the experience, but that's what you picked her for. So you might as well go for it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking the scene is happening. Even Pelosi's like, time to go, Joe. And that's with the donors as well. And when the money dries up, that's what happens. The other thing I thought was really interesting about this stuff, guys, is actually they started really pushing Kamala Harris in events. So I guess she's going to be scheduled to speak to try to do some campaign finance or campaign funding, I should say. That's normal. You do events, but I wanted to point out a couple things. Like, so how much can they charge? Because she's not really a hot ticket. I'm just being honest. I can see the numbers here. So you can see James Taylor and Yo-Yo Ma, which are pretty big headliners, actually. James Taylor is probably old now. Yo-Yo Ma, I think, is probably still pretty good. You can charge $100 upwards to $12,000. Over on the Trump side, actually, he's going a Bitcoin thing. Yes. And really is going to Bitcoin. And then I made this video about this, and I made a comment about this in the other video, but he's charging $844,000 to sit next to him over at the round table, and then opportunities at $60,000 and $100,000. So $60,000 if you want to take a picture with Trump or whoever is around there for one person, and $100,000 for a couple. How many people will pay these things is anyone's guess, and will it be worth the money is also anyone's guess. But I always find this stuff humorous, and you got to be realistic about this stuff, right? This is what this game is about. It's about money. The money is drying up for Biden, and so are the donors going to be along with Kamala? We'll see. We'll see if she can pull a rabbit out of her hat. I'll just be honest with you guys. Our election is a mess, and for me, the most interesting speeches were by this dude here who runs a fighting league and a professional wrestler, and these are the people that are endorsing Trump. And I just want to say, part of what's a challenge for Trump and the Republican Party is just your constituents are aging, largely white, also too male oriented. A lot of the policies just don't include other people, and so it's hard to garner support. But if you really rally your base and you get good turnouts, you might be able to pull it out. And there's one thing I want to mention there. This was a video I made, just a prior video to this. I made a video about Shawshank Redemption. Check that out if you haven't seen it. And this is an interesting comment. This is just 31 minutes ago from Andrew. And Andrew writes, "I'm not understanding your take on Shawshank Redemption." I get this kind of comment a lot where someone's like, "Chris, I don't understand your video." And I don't mean, it's just sometimes people don't. And I know why, but I just want to say that, like, I think when a person writes something like this, is they're being respectful because they know I'm not saying like a bunch of nonsense and I'm not stupid or anything. They just don't understand it, right? And then they say here, they were trying to make a historically accurate movie. It has nothing to do with racism. It's the truth that white and black man likely would not have formed a friendship in those days in that part of the country. And I respond, you should read my book when you get a chance. By not understanding the video, you prove my point without realizing it. And kind of the point, and please watch this video if you haven't already, because I tell a story about Shawshank Redemption. Part of the point of my book and just sort of why I get frustrated with American politics is I would like to be involved more in politics. I'd like to run. But the way the U.S. is people that look like me just don't really have much of a shot. It's just reality. The voters just don't show up. They voters want to vote for old guys like Trump and Biden. It is what it is. So you guys, I'm not against Kamala Harris in terms of having an Indian and black minority female candidate. I'm not against that at all. I'm all for it. I'm all for any candidate who I think can do the job. In my mind, is open to anyone. To be honest, the average voter though is not, and that's the USA. And hopefully that'll change someday. One thing I'm always impressed with, say, the UK, is like they throw up all kinds of candidates and to be prime minister or whatever top position, and it doesn't really seem an issue. At least my understanding of the way I see UK politics compared to what we see in the USA. And for me, it affects me deeply because and this goes back to the person's question where the person says, I don't understand, black and white people can't be friends in that time. And kind of what my answer and response is, and not just check out my book, because my book's about opening your mind, but this is what I try to get people to think beyond is just imagine if a world could be different, and some of the things that you think may not necessarily be true. And also too, part of a better future is imagining what could be. And so when people watch my channel who are the Tesla bulls, they think, oh, Chris, you just hate technology and stuff like this. No, actually, I really like electric cars a lot. I like new technology. I talk about this stuff all the time on the channel. But I do point out discrepancies of the stuff that Musk does. It's a separate thing, and that's why the world is a complex place, guys. And I just, how about this? The way to be successful in this world is to open your mind and expose yourself to lots of new ideas and open up your imagination. And maybe there is a world where people like me can, be influential in U.S. politics someday, right? Open your mind to that. Maybe there's a world where white and black people can be friends. Open up your mind to that. And that's all I have to say. And please watch this other video. You can check out my book as well. And I'll catch you on the next video.